So we're getting to right, wrong. Really? That's our next segment. We're gonna let Josh go first. Who were you right about?
Oh God, there's just so many that I told you guys about that I could just continue to like keep talking about, and that it was silly to start or draft them in the first place. Mixon, who didn't have a good week at all, or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who fumbled the game-winning thing and also didn't do anything, and Gaskin, who's done nothing. And we're not gonna bring up Landry. I did write it down, but I didn't want to talk about it. But I want to talk about the positives here. I want to talk about positives. I'm going to be a positive person. I'm actually coming new. I'm arising from the ashes of negativity.
Thank you. Oh, here we go with the Phoenix.
I want to talk about the positives, and I want to talk about Mr. Jalen Hurts. I think what we did here is we found.
God,
you already knew this. I texted this to you.
I know, but you're right. Is your own team that scored no points?
But this is the thing. We found his floor. Okay. We found Jalen Hurts' floor. When we play the absolute worst and we complete no deep passes for some reason, we keep throwing them. But like even when the Eagles look terrible, he still gets 280 total yards. And 85 of them being rushing yards, which counts as 8.5 yards in most leagues. So when in doubt, he's going to try to make something happen. And I think he basically made it to set it and forget it at this point. I have to feel that that's the case at this point. I drafted him in the 8th or 9th round almost everywhere. So I have backups for him in almost all leagues, one of which being Fields in one league. So I'm happy to see him playing in case anything happens here. I had Tannehill, dropped him. I have Herbert, which I really want to play against the Chiefs this week. But I have so much stock in him. I have him in 3 of 6 leagues. I'm pretty much starting him everywhere. I don't see why I wouldn't. I have a feeling we're seeing our third Lamar and Kyler here, or should I say Michael Vick? I don't know.
Oh my God!
Who led these guys?
With or without the dogs?
I'm not. No. Time out. I'm not comparing him to Michael Vick. I'm just saying Michael Vick led these guys to chances to be quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson wouldn't have a chance in the league right now if Michael Vick hadn't come along. I'm just saying Jalen Hurts is my right. I was right about him. I drafted him everywhere. And the people who grabbed fucking, I don't know, Tannehill ahead of him are idiots, or Brady. You know what I mean? Like Brady's going to be good, but I don't know. Just don't care.
That's so wild.
Any comments? Let's go ahead and take a pause.
What do you mean? Do we have comments? You picked a player that didn't score any points this week. Is your right for week 2?
He scored 19 points on a terrible game.
Okay, we're talking about in real football, though.
I'm talking about fantasy, dude. Hurts is a stud in fantasy.
He's a stud in fantasy.
We're not talking about real football. We're talking about fantasy football. We lost the game, and he still won got 19 points in fantasy, and some in more leagues.
That rushing floor is dope.
It is.
I'm just saying.
By the way, I had Hurts as my 6th or 7th ranked quarterback, so I'm not even saying that I was down on him as some people were for some reason, but.
Lamar week 1.
I feel like the weird victory lap this week is just a weird timing. That's all. That's all.
My right was.
I just feel like when he balls out against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football, that would be your victory lap time.
I think this is what the people need to hear. They need to realize, man, Jalen Hurts looked bad last week. The Eagles looked bad last week, and dude still scored 19 points.
Okay.
There are a lot of quarterbacks out there that can't score that many
it's your
points.
right, so you can be right about it.
I have so many other. I didn't want to focus on. Oh, I told you not to start Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be positive.
Low hanging fruit. I get it.
Speaking of not positive, I want to tell you someone I was wrong about. No, I'm not admitting I was wrong about Jamar Chase yet. Maybe later. Just not yet.
It's getting there.
With Higgins being limited in practice, I'm a little worried about it.
Oh, here.
No, I am. This might be my wrong next week. Let's let it go. But my wrong this week is Antonio Brown. I thought this was it. I thought this was back to old Antonio. I thought this was dude's fucking good. He's going to be getting all kinds of touches. And he went for 2 for 17 or some shit. I didn't even look at the stats because I don't care. I did start him in multiple leagues, and it hurt in multiple leagues. But apparently Evans was mad he didn't get any targets last week and went to Brady and was like, hey, man, can I get 3 touchdowns?
We need to realize that going forward, by the way.
Yeah, I think the problem is Tampa Bay. I think what we realized here was Tampa Bay has so many mouths to feed. So naturally, they're going to feed them. Godwin, Evans, Antonio, Gronk, and then Rojo and Fournette, and I guess Gio. I don't know if he's there anymore. So I just wanted to apologize if you lost because of me. I lost because of me as well. All right. Any other comments?
No, fair. No, that's fair.
All right. My really Billy was right. I don't like this. I don't like that Billy actually said something so outlandish in the offseason that he had to literally publish a retraction the next week because he was saying such stupid, foolish things. But maybe he was right about Pollard is better than Zeke. I don't think Pollard is better than Zeke, but I think, in fact, that Pollard may be better for the Cowboys offense than Zeke. And he turned his 13 carries into 109 and added 3 catches and 40 yards on top of it. And Zeke had 16 carries for 70 yards or something like that. Didn't write that down. Don't quote me. But my question to this is, number one, good for you, Bill. Good for you. Blowed it up. You deserve it. We were both like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You even thought, what the fuck's wrong with me? And you were right. At this moment, these are overreactions for the week.
Yes, week 2 overreactions.
My biggest question here is,
news.
Does Zeke get traded?
No. Jerry Jones is way too up Zeke's ass.
Yeah, and that contract, who would take that on for any reason?
I would. I mean, I don't even like Zeke, but I know he's better than.
So I think, I think they're just going to have to overpay him as a goal line back. Like I hate to say that out loud. I don't know. Let me get to my okay. So I'm just going to get to my right because I'm also taking a victory lap about Tony Pollard this week. Everything that I saw from Tony Pollard is exactly what is happening now. He just looks more dynamic with the football in his hands. I don't know why. I really don't. He doesn't get as many opportunities as Zeke, but it's just like whenever he gets the ball, his initial burst of speed is just way more than what Zeke's has. I don't know why, because Zeke's never had a real bad injury. I'm not really sure what's wrong with him, but he cannot break the initial tackle. It's so bizarre. I don't know how else to qualify it.
I want to stop you here because this is technically still my really.
That's fine.
But I don't think it's that Zeke can't, break a tackle. I think it's just that Pollard has that speed, and this offense needs that speed. And that's why Cooper did so well. That's why Cooper looked like shit on the Raiders. He didn't look like shit. He just was super inconsistent. And that's why Pollard is phenomenal for this offense. Honestly, who'd be great for this team? Like Austin Eckler, any fast running back, DeAndre Swift, like anyone who could break and that's why Pollard looks so great. I don't even think it's that Pollard's this great. I think it's that Zeke is slow. He's the big dude, and it just doesn't make sense on this offense. Zeke,
they're using Zeke as the traditional running back. They're trying to pound him up the middle. They're trying to do all that. The quality of touches that Pollard is getting are way higher than the quality of touches Zeke is getting. So even though he's out snapping him, he's not performing as well. If they try to get Zeke in space a little bit more, it would probably pay off well for them, but they don't use him that way.
Well, also they stack the box.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If I'm going to give any concession to why this is happening, they stack the boxes when Zeke's in there, and then when they don't stack the boxes for a passing play, it's easy to have Tony Pollard's speed just cut him up for yards up the field. I think we can all understand why it's happening. The problem is like when the league catches up to that being the plan, how do you defend something like that? Because it's still a passing down technically. It's just if Dak makes the correct read, then Tony Pollard's going to slice like that. That's just how they're going to use him because he's that fast. So it's like, how do you defend that? And that's the problem because when Zeke's in there, you know what they're going to do. Zeke's not in there to get the passing down work. Like he's in there to run the ball up the middle. No. It is
exactly. He's just there to ground and pound and get those yards, get those tough yards. And honestly, the Cowboys haven't played a game where they've been up yet. It's been a close game each game they played. So, and not to mention like the Tampa Bay game was a shootout. So naturally, Pollard's going to look better in that game. But
look what's happening this week. I mean, we'll get to your game preview, but look what they're about to be in this week. It's not going to be
real quick. It might be. I haven't talked about it yet. But anyway, I feel like we kind of interrupted this. So Joe, you want to give me a slow clap for him?
Take it. Take this applause. I like it.
All right, that's it. That's all you get. But no, in general, I think that Pollard is obviously rosterable, but like don't bank on it. You know what I mean? It's one of those. I think what they found was a complimentary back to Zeke, which it's weird that it's taken him like 3 years to like really figure out Pollard's role. But we both thought you were crazy. You thought you were crazy after the last week. We made you think you were crazy because it seemed so outlandish, but here you are.
The thing is like I did start to think I was crazy as I was like, well, maybe that's really not how it is. And then week 1 and 2 happened, and I'm like, no, that's what I thought.
Week 1 was a fluke. Week 2 was proving it. So I think
but I'm saying like with 2 weeks of evidence. That's why I'm taking the victory lap now. After 2 weeks of evidence, clearly what I had thought originally was not a fluke. So
I think what we're seeing here is like a Melvin Gordon Eckler situation, like where they can both be
probably.
serviceable.
I mean, the thing is, Pollard's getting older, so I don't really know like what's the plan. Eventually, you're going to start him because he's getting way too old for that. So I don't.
No, he's basically going to just slide into that James White role, but a little bit more running plays.
Probably
what James White should be doing.
Okay.
Hopefully, you Possums drafted him.
Hopefully so. Hey, Joe said to trade for him. So if you traded Zeke for Pollard, you're probably like, you know what? Kind of a wash.
I'm pretty sure we've all talked about it at some point, like saying, hey, dude, roster this guy at the very least.
Yeah, for sure.
We were not nearly as ballsy as Billy, though.
I know. Well, hey, the thing about hot takes, sometimes you just got to stick with them. I did not, but
not to handle.
I should have.
Sorry,
okay.
Anyway, let's get back to your play. Bill.
That's fine. So my right was Pollard. Kind of went over all the reasons that I have been right about that thus far. We'll see what happens in the future. I think teams are eventually going to catch up to what the Cowboys have already figured out, how to use him in their offense. So I will see what they do. Maybe Monday we'll see what the Eagles can do with that. My wrong for this week is Julio. So here's the thing. I said to sit Julio because I thought they were going to focus A.J. Brown. Well, guess what happened? The complete opposite of that. They barely looked at A.J. Brown, and Julio had a touchdown stolen from him from the referees. That should have been a touchdown. I'm still not exactly excited for why they chose to not call that a touchdown because his toe was down and then his foot came down out of it. That was weird. But I was wrong. I thought it was going to be the other way around. I don't know what's wrong with A.J. Brown. We're going to get to it in the game preview. I'm not sure what to do with him because Ryan Tannehill didn't look at him again. This is a game where they were down, desperately coming back, which they did get the comeback. A.J. Brown still wasn't featured. I mean, it was Derrick Henry, and then they would pop it to Julio. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. So my wrong is Julio. Tennessee's still hella confusing. They won the game against Seattle. But okay, don't know what you're going to
coming.
Don't know what you're going to do about that.
I think what you're going to see here, and I think week 1 was a fluke because they looked terrible all around.
Yes, that was definitely a fluke.
I think what you're going to see here is it's going to be inconsistency from A.J. Brown and Julio. Like it's going to be that Amari Cooper on the Raiders situation. Are either one of them going to get hit 30 points each week? You don't know, but you have to start them to hope that they do.
Yeah,
because A.J. Brown will get looks. I know that it's concerning right now for A.J. Brown owners, and God, I'm glad I didn't keep him at this point, but I don't know. You can't say that he's not going to do anything.
Exactly. But the thing is like, how can I tell somebody to start him?
It's going to be hard to say his stock is what you drafted him at.
You got to look at the cornerback matchups and see which side's getting torched. And that's how you set this up.
It's going to be tough. Okay. Yeah. Am I really? Is Miles Sanders. So it's not Miles Sanders himself. It's the play calling, especially in the red zone. It's confusing to me what Philly is trying to do. It seems like they're trying to get cute down there, but I don't understand why. I'm going to admit I only watched like a couple of their red zone plays during like when they had the ball down there, and I couldn't figure out why Miles Sanders didn't get at least an attempt to run the ball into the end zone. They were trying like little pop passes and stuff. Josh, maybe you can spread more awareness on why it's confusing in the red zone for the Eagles, but they cannot do that all this whole season. What they did against San Francisco, the play calling was just way too weird.
Dude, it's Nick Sirianni trying to like create a new offense for himself, but yet stealing plays from the old playbook, like AKA the Philly special on 4th down, which is not a good play. Like, honestly, I would have rather had you run up the gut and get stuffed than try to play the Philly special with like completely different people. It was Greg Ward throwing the ball.
Philly special.
And we have Dallas Goedert on the team. Like, I mean, you could like put him in there or whatever, but like Greg Ward was a quarterback in high school. I get it. Okay. So The play calling in the red zone is the Eagles' Achilles right now because we've gotten in the red zone way too many times and not scored in Atlanta and in San Francisco, or in Philly technically, but against San Francisco. I have no insight on this. I don't understand why they don't use Miles Sanders as the guy that he is, because that man averages about 5 yards per carry. And I get it. Like, he's not the bell cow back. Like, they always had Jordan Howard or the Garrett Blunt and like the bigger guys and whatnot. But like, Miles Sanders is better than you expect. And he's bigger and stronger and smarter than you expect. He makes the right cuts. He's honestly a smaller version of Brian Westbrook. Like, he can break tackles. He can get through. He can cut. I just don't understand why they don't use him in the red zone. I don't understand why they give him 13 carries per game. Give him 20 carries per game and just see what happens. I'm actually going to come up with the stat now. I'm writing it down right now that I'm going to see what happened when he got 20 carries per game, because I guarantee that they won that game. And I get that game script doesn't always work, and there's probably like a few outliers there, but like, why the fuck don't you give Miles Sanders the ball? The dude gets 5 yards per carry and then breaks one. And not to mention those wheel routes that you shouldn't have kicked this to me. The wheel routes that he used to run when Wentz could throw the ball, like obviously not last year, but the year before, where he could actually throw the ball, and like the wheel routes, he would get 40 yards on those. Like, why are you not running those? Why is Miles Sanders? I get Gainwell as a good pass catcher. I'm looking forward to seeing what Gainwell brings to the team. I think he's the next young version of Darren Sproles, because we got old version of Darren Sproles and he was still fucking good. Like, I get that. I get that he has a role. Give Miles Sanders 20 carries. Give Gainwell 10. That's 30. Or touches. My apologies. 20, 10 touches. Should be split. Done. Even if you're losing, give him the ball. I'm done.
Agreed. All right, Joe. Right, wrong, really.
All right, guys. So my right for the week is Maximus. 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 Aaron Rodgers was the gladiator in that game. Dude, it bothered me how everyone was freaking out about Aaron Rodgers. People were talking about dropping him, saying his career was over. He's checked out. He should go do Jeopardy. I knew as soon as I heard that, I said, Aaron Rodgers is going to skull stomp some other fuckers on the football field. He was throwing beautiful passes to everybody. That touchdown to Tanyan was ridiculous, especially with MVS wide the fuck open right in front of him. But he knew Tanyan would catch it. MVS would probably drop it. So he threw where he needed to throw it. Aaron Rodgers is going to be just fine, ladies and gentlemen, as he always is. And he is going to go. He's doing the last dance this year. I'm telling you, this is the start of something crazy. And I love all the haters that are so quick to discount this man, because that only fires them up more. And as a Bears fan, I've grown to respect this man a lot. Hate him, but I respect him. And
my knee.
You just can't talk bad about him, man. He'll come back on opioids and just kick your ass.
Can we talk about MVS real quick, though? I know this is about Rodgers, and you're absolutely right. And I love the gladiator meme that you posted. And if you haven't seen that, go to offensive points on Twitter, and you'll see it, because, you know, you haven't liked us yet, and you should. But MVS, dude, I can't believe why people keep thinking. I just saw someone pick him up in one of my leagues, and it's a very shallow league. Like, we have like 6 bench spots in a 10-man league, and some dude just picked up MVS, and maybe it was just like it's Monday night game. Let me pick up a guy real quick. But stop. It's over. Like, it's over, man. Like, Randall Cobb wasn't even good. Like, there's no second guy. It's Devontae Adams, Tanyan, and Aaron Jones. It's like the Lions.
Yeah, the A.J. Dillon thing, I'm really glad, because I own Aaron Jones a lot of places, but I'm sure later in the season, Dillon will get more involved. But as of right now, sit back and watch the fireworks with this offense. It's going to be fun.
The problem with Dillon is Dillon can't catch the ball like Jamal Williams did. They should have never got rid of Jamal Williams. That was stupid of them.
Did you see that post or that thing, the press conference he had about Green Bay getting rid of him? He said something. He was like, "Oh man, they're like my ex-girlfriend. They just broke up with me, and Detroit's over here whining and dining me, and that was
and they were treating me real good, like, and they keep buying me dinner and give me wine." Yeah, no, Jamal Williams is a fucking G, and honestly, I know that I don't know if I mentioned this or whoever has Detroit, but think about starting him. I'm not saying start him, but think about it.
Just think about it.
I like it.
All right. So my wrong is Rondale Moore. I was not as high on this guy as I should have been. he looks awesome, and clearly they're manufacturing touches for him to get him in space, and he is lightning quick. Billy was all on him. I wasn't buying it this whole offseason, so I should have been more. I'm still not sold that he's as good for fantasy this year as everyone thinks he seems to be now after the waivers ran. But he's definitely someone to look at or keep an eye out for. He looks electric. He is fast as hell, and clearly they're trying to get the ball in his hands. So I really like it. Most reason this guy was on my list here is because I refuse to admit I was wrong on Sterling Shepard. He is a fraud. I'm standing on this forever. So Rondale Moore is my wrong.
Next week, me and Joe are Joe's gonna be Sterling Shepard and mine's gonna be Jamar Chase. It's gonna be great.
Probably so.
Tune in next week.
Glad that you all have kept those consistent. But yes, Rondale Moore is perfect because he's the same height as Kyler. Yeah. So he can just see him through the trees
level, man.
that are going through the field. He can
there's no leaves on the trees down there, you know.
Exactly. So they can throw it to him, and it's perfect.
I want to talk about how I got Rondale Moore as the 10th waiver in our main league. Just wild. Didn't think I'd get him. I just put it in just for shits and gigs.
That's the best part of the waivers.
I chose Mooney over him because Mooney's going to the moon. All right. My really for the week is KJ Osborne. This dude somehow keeps doing it. They do not have a tight end right now in Minnesota. So you're going to see these 3 wide receiver sets, but it's really fucking up my Justin Jefferson projection. It's killing me. I mean, it's going to even out. I think this is a little bit of a fluke. I just feel like people don't decide to guard him as closely as Thielen and Jefferson, which is a smart move on the defense. But if this kind of thing keeps happening, they're going to start waking up, guarding him a little harder, and Minnesota's going to have to find a different way to get it there. But
we'll see
Jefferson's coming.
What you were right about is like KJ Osborne caught that like one pass for like 60 yards. Yeah. And that was like, it was like, damn it, a busted coverage. Of course, he's going to like cover his points total just because he caught that one ball. And then he wasn't really used the rest of the day. So you're not necessarily wrong about him, which is why he's probably not in your wrong category. But yeah, exactly. It's like, what the hell is this? I get it.
Time out.
I mean, what do you 8 targets that game or something KJ Osborne did? I mean, I
have a lot to say about this guy. I think that I'm not saying he's the next Justin Jefferson or he's the league winner because I don't think that. But I think that this man could be a serviceable fill-in. His first 2 weeks, obviously it's been 2 weeks. So don't take that with a grain of salt. Don't be ridiculous about it. But at the same time, if you picked him up, stash him. You never know if Thielen or Jefferson went down they have no tight end. So I feel like what really this happened was he slid into that Irv Smith role. And I think that this is basically what Irv Smith would do or will do next year. But I think in reality,
not the same, but target wise.
I mean, I'm just saying in general, like obviously Irv Smith wouldn't have ran for a 30-yard.
Well, I was about to say Irv Smith's not catching a 60-yard touchdown.
But still.
If you have KJ Osborne, you are selling him as high as you can and moving the fuck on.
I also agree with that.
This is not sustainable.
Dynasty, if you can get a second round pick, hits in.